Thanks, Javier.
Daly, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, and thanks to the rapporteurs. I suppose some of our points are similar in emphasis to the Greens in some ways, but I suppose we start off by looking at this and reminding ourselves that this isn't the Cañete report, which was about foreign interference. This is a response to the scandal over the alleged corruption links between Qatar and Morocco last year. So for us, it's not actually really ideological at all. It's not about a battle between authoritarianism and democracy or about the invasion of Ukraine or espionage. It's not even particularly about foreign interference. It's about our response to corruption, which is not ideological at all. It doesn't really matter to citizens where the corruption comes from, whether it's foreign or whether it's domestic. Corruption by the private sector is just as much of a problem, for example. So this for us is supposed to be about transparency, about integrity, about accountability in this institution, because we all agree that that is something that urgently needs to be addressed. So for us, I suppose, in the report, it's really important that we deal directly and cleanly with the shortcomings in the Parliament's rules that weaken transparency, accountability and integrity, and which in themselves then facilitate corruption. That's kind of how we are approaching this, because it's really important that the public sees that we're serious about this. And if we have a kind of a kitchen sink approach of throwing in everything, including loads of stuff that have been dealt with appropriately in the Cañete report, then we're undermining that, and we're kind of showing that we're not really taking it cleanly and seriously. So I suppose our amendments are kind of done and structured in that kind of framework. We largely aim to sort of refocus the draft text on transparency, integrity and accountability, and stop us getting distracted by all of the other things that are more appropriately dealt with on the other side of the committee's mandate and would be more appropriate to the Cañete report. I suppose that's the first thing. The second thing is that we're kind of aiming with our amendments to hold the report to the ambitions in the resolutions that we adopted in Parliament in the Qatargate that we passed almost unanimously in December, so that we have, I suppose, the maximum ambition in terms of reforming the rules and preventing any watering down or foot dragging on that. So we're very much focused around the Parliament's resolution. So all of the things, cooling off periods, paid side jobs, declaration of interest, financing of trips, all of that stuff, the transparency register, the ethics body, they're all crucially important that we give them the focus and centre of attention that they address. There was an issue which we struggled with, I suppose, in terms of the report and wasn't easily amendable. And we've requested a discussion at the first Shadows meeting about this. It's kind of a structural amendment, I suppose, that we've put in, where we want to move the section on security culture down to the end of the report. Well, you know, it's really so that we lead with the issue of reform of the rules in transparency, accountability and integrity. So we think it's necessary at the start of this report to show that the Parliament means business on these issues and that we'd like the report reordered in that way. A couple of other things in it. I don't think we need to really go into them all now. Some language in the draft report that we'd find problematic, stuff about the threat of Islamist organisations and so on. We've tabled amendments on that. We think unless the rapporteurs can give very concrete examples that they shouldn't be there. We are also very concerned that some people are attempting to use Qatargate as an attempt to sort of crack down on NGOs and civil society. Now, it is a fact that NGOs already have much more stringent transparency requirements than commercial interest lobbyists do. And frankly, that is just not on. And we have tabled amendments aimed to hold all lobbyists to the same high standard, with appropriate carve-outs for non-professional, citizen-led civil organisations that shouldn't be excluded from meeting MEPs. So we think that's a really important section. So, yeah, I mean, look, there are some other issues that colleagues have touched on that maybe impact on the individual ability for MEPs to do their work and have a different voice. We'd share some colleagues' concerns about some of those things. And I suppose for us, there's a lot more scope from the left group to be in agreement with this report maybe than we have been with some of the other ones. So in that sense, I think we are looking forward to working favourably with colleagues on that and productive discussions in the negotiations. So thanks for that.